So the first thing is our leadership team. We have a group of men who are working together as far as decisions and direction and so forth of the church is concerned. And me being the pastor, I get to be on that team. But in addition to that team, Mark Liu, this is Mark Liu right over here. Also Paul Bueller and Brandon Dong. They're both on the leadership team also, but we're missing one. And so I'll talk to you about that in just a minute. Fact is, what we're going to do is we need to select another elder to join with us in the leadership team there. Process whereby we do that, go ahead, Scott, is we have an elder selection team. How we select the elder selection team is we take 3 people from our ministry team leaders. Ministry team leaders are those people who are involved in the different ministries here in the church. So that would include Stephanie, who's leading up the care group, Dan Long, our youth group ministry, and then also Brian, who is leading up the men's group. These guys have volunteered to represent the ministries on the ministry team, on the selection team, and then along with myself, Mark Liu, and Paul Bueller. What we'll do is we take suggestions and nominations from the congregation. They give them to us. We go through them and interview them and so forth, make sure they meet the qualifications according to the Constitution, and then we'll choose one who's going to work with us as a team, and we'll offer that person as to the church as having been nominated from the body and then chosen by the team of leaders who then will serve, and we rotate one off every year. And this year it was Dan Robinson. He came off earlier because he took the children's ministry there, and he would be spending some time with that. So we need to fill his, so he just rotated off. We'll take somebody else. So please, in the next few weeks, make those recommendations. I already told you, here's Brian. There's Stephanie right over there. Where's Dan? He was here today. Yada, yada, yada. Yada, yada, yada. Anyway, okay. So those are the guys. Now, is that the list of possible candidates? Those are the selection team. Any one of those could be on it. 3 of them are already on it. Any one of those could be on it, except for Stephanie. Yeah. Pardon? And that's true. The reason is because as in our Constitution, we set the requirements for elders as being those that are written for us in the book of 1 Timothy. And in 1 Timothy, one of the requirements is that an elder should be the husband of one wife. So we take that literally. That's we're on that. All right, so let me just go on and tell you, last year, let's look at the next slide there. This is a slide of our attendance records from the last year. You'll see the 3 colors there. One is for the adults, green is for youth, and the yellow is for the children. And there's a couple of low areas. The one low area you see there in the middle is summertime, and particularly in July. Usually in July, people have gone someplace. If they are not going back to home, they're finding somewhere else to go. So typically our attendance is quite down from there. We had one big day and have had a couple big days, but you can see that our average attendance, including the children, would be about 150. About 150. And according to those people who are involved in studying churches and church growth, in a size like this, that's about what we're going to be able to do. They say that with you'll never get past 3/4 of your capacity. Our capacity in here is 180. So the fact that we're at 150 thereabouts it's good. And so that leaves us with the next thing then is, and that's why I believe you'll see that it's fairly flat. In previous years, there's been an increase in the attendance. You can see a gentle upsweep in the line, but this year it's pretty flat all the way across. And going into this year, it's still remaining that. That means this, that in order for us to get an uptick in that curve, we're going to have to do some things different. Just in the immediate, what we're planning on doing, you've noticed the tables outside there. So what we're wanting to do is go ahead and fill this up and then have an overflow crowd who'll be able to sit at the tables outside and see in the screens, participate, especially during the worship time. We have a coffee machine that we're going to be putting in out here. A commercial coffee machine, so we could make you your favorite brew and that kind of thing. And then the tables will give a place where people can have as a, when you stand out there, if you don't have anything to stand around or anything, you're just standing there holding a cup of coffee. But if you got a table, you can get 2 or 3 people around the table there, and then you could immediately start having the conversation. And the purpose for that is to allow us to use that area out there, and we also have some seating out there that can see this screen, is to allow us to use that area out there, because this typically fills up then during the praise and worship time, where we only have standing only. What we want to do is to build it up to where we have over 100 adults. You can see that the average for adults is just a little bit over 75, right around 80. So we'd like to get up to 100, 110 adults. And if we can do that, then it gives us a very good core then that we can work with. That gives you an idea then of what our attendance is like. You can see we have a good children's group. You can also see that our youth group has also been growing. I don't know how many youth today. Does anybody know how many youth there were today? Okay. So last Sunday there was 30 kids in that little room, 29, 30 kids, and the record is well over 30, yes. And so that's crowded. I'll mention something about that in just a minute. Let me just show you our finances real quick. If you go to the next slide, please. For last year, this is a summary of our income and expenses. For the past several years, we have been sharing this together with the Chinese congregation. This year, we've been fairly separate. We have our own bank accounts. We have our own income and outgo, keep our own records and so forth, and so been pretty much separate. What you see there is the summary of income and expense for Grace Church. Yes, that's the important number we need to see. And again, we came fairly even. Our budget for last year was just a little over $6 million. We brought an income of $6.7 million, and we spent about $6 million. We have ended 2012 with a balance of about $774,000, which, that just means that we've been maintaining. With churches, you either increase or you eventually begin. We cannot just simply be maintaining. If we're just maintaining, it's stale. People begin moving on, and then you begin decreasing. So, as a church, and just because that's what Jesus wants us to do, we always need to be reaching out and getting other people. There's a couple of things I'd like you to notice about our summary of income and expense, and that is there were some months in which we had large deficits. You'll notice there in the months of, July didn't do too bad, but from June, July, and August, it was going down, came up a bit in September, but not much, and then October, and then you'll see in November and December, the offering came back up. I'll tell you why that happened. For a long time, we did not receive an offering during the worship service. We had offering boxes that people could use. The thing is, though, and I know how that works. I'm the same way. I can prepare for the offering, bring my envelope and so forth to church here, and not put it in the box just because somebody didn't put a bag in front of me. But if somebody puts a bag in front of me, then I'll remember it and I'll put it in there. So we've gone back to using the receiving an offering. The other thing that we need to do, especially for our group here, is we need to have electronic giving or internet giving, and we're working on doing that. I do all of mine on the internet, honestly. So it's a chore for me to go to the bank and get my tithe and put it together. This sounds horribly unspiritual, but I do. It's just that for me to sit down and I pay every other bill like that, just put my tithe on there, my tithe comes out, going to the church, and So that's the other thing is too, because of people who travel from the States, many people have U.S. bank accounts, and they'd like to be able to also do that through a U.S. bank account. We're trying to work out some way to do that, and we will. We'll do that too. I say that to say this, that our income's not bad. We covered our expenses and came out balanced. Of that $774,000, you should also know that we paid $650,000 for our sound system here. That didn't actually get paid till this year, but that would have balanced us out across the board, including the sound system. So we're covering our finances, but in order for us to grow, we've actually got to step it up. All right? Okay, the next slide. How are we going to go forward? Click it again, please. The first thing we're going to need is space, and we're on the B2. Upstairs is the welcome, and we're hoping that. Well, I know what's going to happen is their lease is not going to be renewed. That means that B1 there means you can't do your shopping after church on Sunday. Is what it means, but we'll have access, again, with the Chinese congregation. The two of our congregations are scheming on it. And I told Pastor Joe already, quite some time ago, I said, Pastor Joe, you and I, we need to understand. We want B1. Don't let it be leased out to somebody else. Whatever it takes, we want B1, and we need B1. Because both of our congregations are growing. And right now we're stable because we just don't have space to grow. We're trying to eke out everything we can. Let me just step back on the space business again. Why don't we do 2 services? The reason we don't do 2 services, the reason we meet at 9 a.m. is because the Chinese congregation comes at 10:30. At 10:30 when they come here, our kids are moving out of the classrooms. Their kids are moving into the classrooms. We're in the public area there during their service. We clear out of the public area there about 11:30, just as the time as they're closing upstairs, and then they come down here, and then they use the area for their fellowship, and on into the afternoon for their small groups and different things that they do. So we can't actually do another one at 10:30 or 11. We could do another one Sunday night, do another service Sunday night, or what we could do is instead of having morning worship service, we could have afternoon worship service and just use the whole facility in the afternoon then. These are all things that have been put on the table, and right now we're looking at being able to use B1 and expand to there. I don't know how it works, but there's the possibility of putting in a balcony and doubling what we have here in just a balcony there, and then using additional classrooms. There's a lot of things that we could do there too. So with regard to space then, another idea we have is we believe that we need to expand our youth group. Right now, I've talked quite a bit with Dan Long that what we'd like to do this year is to get a solid group of about 50 young people, 50 committed young people. Right now, we're right at about 30. So we'd like to get 50 because that's critical mass. What we would do then is we could start a service on Saturday nights, which would be much more of a youth-oriented meeting on Saturday nights. And doesn't have to be only youth, but we can use a large spectrum of youth. People can still serve and so forth on our Saturday nights. It allows us then for several of our teenagers who would like to be involved in ministry then to come back on Sunday morning and help teach in Sunday school, help with the other ministries here, and it also gives us the opportunity of developing 2 services. And we can also be using the upstairs. It also gives us the opportunity to meet out to reach out to several of the universities around this area to have an English service or to young people on Saturday evening. So that's why we're saying we need to expand the teen room. The teen room now fits about 25. They get in about 30 or 31. It's crowded in, very crowded. So that's immediately on we're working on that at this very moment. Everything we do here, we have to run through the Chinese congregation, and we cooperate together on this. It takes a little bit longer, but that's life. That's what we have to do. And so we're moving along and hope to there's 2 prayer rooms there. We're going to knock out 1 prayer room and can almost double it. We think that we can get 50 there. That's what we're trying to do. That would lead us to a Saturday night service. And then in the meantime, I've explained how we're opening up the lobby and the hallway here. We have plans to make it more, how should I say, user-friendly in the lobby area, which gives us more room here. Okay? So space is important. That's what we're trying to do, is utilize the most space that we can. Any questions or comments on that? Right. So next thing is, going forward, is staff. Right now, you're looking at staff. That's me. And I've mentioned to our leadership on several occasions that I think that one of the major hindrances to our growing is the fact that there's only so much that one person can do as far as ministering and so forth to the staff and just the things that go into preparation, the logistics, preparation and so forth, that go into having church and doing church. So we're wanting to hire a worship pastor. And the reason we're saying that is this. I initially wanted to get somebody who was an executive pastor, who would be much more tech-oriented and planning-oriented, detail-oriented, who could take a project and kind of put in and do the project. But what I realized is this, is that Sunday morning is when we meet. Our church pretty much, our main contact is for 2 hours on Sunday. Because we have people who come from all over the city, and they come, and this is what we do on Sunday. And when Mike was here, no problem. We had somebody who was doing that. We have people now who every Sunday, who they come and they take of their time. They have other jobs, and I very much appreciate it. I know that it's a time-consuming thing to get the charts together, to get the practicing together, to get the musicians together, and then to get up here and to put it all together for Sunday. It's not an easy thing to do. I looked online to see what would be the responsibilities of a worship pastor, and it also gave me an outline of the scheduling of what kind of time that goes into it. Or just for somebody, if you want just somebody on weekends to put in, they can do it in about say maybe 5 or 6 hours put together. And by that I mean they go to a repository, they pull the songs, they come in, and they can get it ready, and they can practice and then perform on Sunday. But we also have a sound room that needs somebody who's going to integrate it. We also have the presentation software and the graphics and so forth that go into the presentation software, making sure that it's put together. We also need someone then who's going to be getting new music, putting it together, teaching the band new music, getting the bands together and practicing with them. Also a time to be able to reflect with the pastor on preparing our worship service, and so it's all integrated and together and putting it together. And it adds up in hours over time. So what we're wanting to do is to get a worship pastor initially, but also somebody who can act as an assistant pastor and help with organization. And that job description is out now. If you know of somebody who would be interested, I would like to get them the job description and to let them know. Next one there. The other thing is administration. We have help with our Chinese congregation. Angela is the English. She speaks excellent English. She's there in the office all week long. If you ever call the church office and you need anything, just ask for Angela. Her Chinese name is Li Jun, and so you can talk to her, and she can pretty much help you. Even if you just need some simple translation, you can't tell the taxi driver where to go. You can call her for those kinds of things too. She's very talented, very versatile. But nonetheless, as our church grows, then she's going to have to become more concentrated here in our English congregation. Right now, she shares responsibilities with the Chinese church. So I'm expecting that that's going to happen. I know that when Candy or some of the teachers, when they need copies made, they can email Angela the copies, and she'll have them ready for them on Sunday morning. I email her the bulletin. She prints it out and has it ready on Sunday morning for us. And so that's very helpful. But again, it's just some of the things that has to do with a growing church. The other thing that we need is also with the bookkeeping. We have a bookkeeper in the office who does bookkeeping for both the Chinese and the English congregation. It's pretty much full-time. We had one guy doing facilities and bookkeeping, and it was too much. So now we have two guys, one facilities, one doing bookkeeping. Tony does actually for the English church. He's the one who put together all the information about the summaries. He gives leadership a quarterly report and so forth, income, expenses, and details and budgets and so forth. Tony does that. But typically, we should have 2 people on our finance team, and so that's where we need someone else to step in and help with that part of the ministry. Again, as it's growing. Okay, next one. The other thing is resources. Go to and that's our church runs so much on volunteers. The only reason we get anything done at all around here is because of volunteers. We have volunteers who play the instruments. We have volunteers who get the music together. We have volunteers in our sound room. We have volunteers in all of our classrooms. We have volunteers for snacks. We have volunteers for all of its volunteers. I'm the only paid staff other than what we share with the Chinese congregation for the administration. And that's tremendous. That's very cool. Our men's ministry, Brian just says, I think God wants me to get involved in something. He stepped up and he started doing it. Our adult Bible class, we got 3 guys that teach our adult Bible class. They step up and they say, we'll do it. It's that way in all different areas of the ministry. Our teachers don't get to hear me preach on Sundays. My wife never hears me preach on Sunday, but I preach to her all week long. No, so she's glad for the reprieve on Sundays. She loves teaching Sunday school. But the thing is that we'd like to have the teachers so that we can be able to get teachers so they're not always stuck in the classroom like that. They can rotate in and out. But it's all done by volunteers. So volunteering is such a tremendous opportunity for ministry. And to be able to get active, our ushers are here time and time again. There's that whole usher thing is growing. And it's time, it's your time. We start at 9 in the morning. They have to get here at 8:30 or earlier. The music gets here at 8. Same with our hospitality and making sure the snacks all come together. By the way, we need somebody who's going to take over in the hospitality because the Cureties are leaving in June. We need somebody who's going to take over volunteer, take over our hospitality and signing up the different things, and also working with the events that we have planned need to be done. So that brings us to the matter of finances. I'm sorry, but here's how it works. The electric company doesn't take faith; they take cash, and that's how it works. We can say, well, we've got faith, but you can tell me how much faith you have too, but I'm just going to tell you, it takes cash, okay? That's just the hard facts of the matter. So right now, how we're handling our finances, you can see that it's quite even. But there's a couple of things I need to let you know about. Number one is this: I'm still on missionary status. That means that I still receive missionary support. I haven't been actively trying to increase that, and so it just over the period of time is just attrition is set in, and it's slowly going down. Which only means this: that more and more, then I'm completely reliant upon Grace Church. So for me, I ask myself the question, and I just ask myself the question, well, okay, I'm 60, 65 is around the corner. I think I can be here till 70 if you'll have me that long, but I work out and I try and stay healthy. And my goal is to be able to take stairs 2 at a time when I'm 70, and so practice every day. But the thing is this, retirement's coming. So what do? I'll tell you what happens with most missionaries. They don't get it. My mother is 80, she'll be 85 this year, and she comes from the generation that didn't do a whole lot for retirement. And except for me, I'm her sole support. I support my mother completely. If she didn't have my support, she'd be getting about $80 a month in retirement. So that's a problem that missionaries have, a problem that I also face. That means that my retirement, if and when I come off of missionary status, is dependent upon you. So it's a responsibility that taking a pastor, it just comes with taking a pastor. It's also a responsibility with coming and taking on staff members. We were doing some figuring about how we're going to finance a staff member. A praise and worship pastor who has 5 years experience can get a job in the States, if they're good at what they do, for 50,000 a year, 50,000 U.S. a year. I'll have to use U.S. terms, okay? 50,000 a year. That's fairly substantial. But we have a different situation here in Taiwan, because if a guy was getting 50,000 a year in the States, he'd pay for his housing out of that. He'd also pay for his children's schooling out of it. There might be some other benefits, and they might subsidize. I don't know if my son Charles gets any housing subsidy, and they just took away the education subsidy. But for a person who comes overseas to work, then it's a typical package is, in addition to monthly wages, is housing subsidy and at least education subsidy, and some also give transportation. When we were figuring that out, we just took a family that has a young family that has 2 school-age children. Maybe they have 3, but at least 2 school-age children. We estimated that if they sent them to TAS, that with wages, housing, and education, would be about 2.2 million, almost 2.5 million for the whole thing, 2.5 million. So that would mean, in order for us to hire a praise and worship pastor who knows his goods and has some experience and has some maturity and a family, we would have to add to our budget about $2.5 million. That's over a third of our budget we'd have to add, of our income to add. That's the facts of life, folks. Can we do it cheaper? Yes, we can. And here it is, what you need to understand, you get what you pay for. And I'm of the opinion that if this is the Lord's work, we should try to get the best bang for your buck. So, this is what we're struggling with. This is why I want to tell you what we're looking forward to as this goes forward. Now, if they're to send their children to a missionary school, for example, Morrison, they get is it a 40% discount, or do they they only pay 40%, 50% discount? Okay, so being a full-time worker then, as a missionary or as a church worker here, they would get a 50% discount, which obviously then that cuts down the whole education thing way down, which is a big thing. But when we talk about housing here in Tenmu, I don't know what you pay for your housing, but I know what I pay for mine. And my wife and I, having just moved, we looked around quite a bit. And it's not cheap living here. So we could say, well, if you want to send your kids to Bethany, you can live down at Bethany. But I'm of the opinion, if we're going to have staff here, and we're going to have church here, we need to be here. And so Candy and I, we're here. Of course, Candy works, and we pony up, and we pay it here. The church this year began first year giving us a housing subsidy, which is a tremendous blessing. I'll just say thank you since you're here. But if we're going to get a staff member who's going to be taking on responsibilities, these are the things that we're looking at. So I could say to you that if we're going to hire someone this year, we need to look at our finances and look at increasing our finances about $2 million, at least $2 million, just for a staff person. I made an offer, and I'm talking to a person in particular who I'm very interested in. I made an offer to them, and I suggested to them that maybe you should raise some support in the U.S. temporarily, because we can't give you what you need now. We'll give you, and I said $35,000, which by U.S. standards is very low. And I said, that's what it is. So, but I said, if we, at $35,000 a year U.S., then we would be able to subsidize housing and subsidize education for you. It's still pretty steep for us. But then as our church grows, because typically the formula that churches work is, if you get a good staff member, they can generally pay for themselves within 6 months. This is why, folks, this whole thing works together. If we get another staff member, then we're also going to have the space to grow, because we have to have the space to grow in order to increase our income, to have the staff member who's going to bring more people. So it all works together. And that's where we're at as far as our going forward is concerned. Basically, We want to build up our youth to a solid core of 50. We want to emphasize and really work with youth to build them up to a solid core of 50. That would lead us to starting on Saturday night services, which should open up things here. We're going to talk to a couple guys who can help us with a coffee kiosk here on Sundays, and so that we can start using that area out there and open up some room in here for us. That gives us this kind of space. If when Welcome leaves, then we can expand that way, which gives us the space we need to expand then in order to be able to hire someone new and to pay for them. We can't pay for them up front, but we're trying to work out something that we can build up incrementally to give a staff what they deserve. So I know enough about incomes in Taiwan and to know that if we're going to be a church that's going to pay their staff members what they need, what they should be getting, we're going to have to do more than. When I came on at 40,000 NT a month, which there wasn't even any discussion because I was on missionary status. I didn't even care. But as we transitioned from missionary status, then this church has gradually been able to increase my monthly wages and to increase now housing. Just so happens that my daughter graduates, so you'd have no education subsidy to do next year. But then there's the whole retirement thing that comes in. And in order for us to hire a new staff, this is what we deal with on an international basis. So that's where we are. Do you have any questions that you'd like to ask or comments you'd like to make? Yeah. The what? It's unknown. I just know this. I know that they have asked us on several occasions to lower their rent because their income is not. They're not making much income. I've never been in there where there's more than just maybe 2 or 3 people besides me. And they're open 24/7. So I know that they're just not bringing in much. And besides, you got Carrefour right over there. So this is just kind of like a neighborhood shop, and Welcome doesn't operate on neighborhood shops. So it'll probably happen this year. We've already, Pastor Joe and I have already made it very clear to the denomination not to lease it to anybody else, that we want it, we'll work it out. So I don't know what arrangements are going to have to be done, but we're making it a priority. I will say this, and here's an idea for you to think about. In fact, let's just go on to the next one, Scott. Going forward, missions outreach, missions teams going to different places. We have some missions teams doing that. And next one. Then also community service, the opportunity to be able to minister in this community. We did that at Easter time with that Easter fair. We've also cooperated with the Chinese congregation when they do things out in the Guangchang. They've already asked us for December 21st. They're going to have a big thing out here December 21st, put up a stage. They want live music and live bands. They said, we like your music and your band. So that's for the 21st. Again, it's part of our outreach into this community. Even though we're English speaking, we can still outreach into this community. Another idea I have is, and I've talked to some people about it, is when we open up this next floor, is putting in a bilingual cafe. To me, I think we're just perfectly suited for a bilingual cafe. I go down to the Dante coffee shop, and I'm going to be done in 5 minutes. Okay, I go down to the Dante coffee shop, and it's packed with students every afternoon down there doing their lessons or whatever. And I'm thinking, why should they be here? Where I actually have English staff, talk to people in English, but we would cooperate with the Chinese congregation to have the bilingual. And then the other thing I was thinking about, entertainment at night. Why do we have to have the bars give us the entertainment? Why couldn't we then have good Christian music and entertainment, or good Christian music then, in the evenings here? We can be done by 10 o'clock. I mean, good Christians go to bed by 10 o'clock. So, but all I'm saying is, we have the people who are talented to do it. We have the people who not only are talented, we have the people who really want to do that kind of ministry, who would love to use that as a ministry outreach. We also have the resources and people who can supply us with those kinds of things too. So, and when Welcome leaves, we've got space. It gives us a great opportunity, I think, to work together with the Chinese congregation and also in this community, bilingual opportunities. Yeah. So those are things, yes. Yeah. We're actually, this is just initial idea stage. I've already talked to them and I've said what we need first is a business plan. We're in the process now of putting together an actual business plan, because what we'd like to do is to put together a clear business plan, work together with our Chinese brothers and sisters upstairs, and then put it out and say, hey, here's what we need to have in order to make this thing work. And that basically, it's very much an idea stage at this point. But it's a good idea. All right? So what do we need? Here's what we need. Our greatest need is you. Yeah. Do it again. Yeah. Because this is how it works, folks. We're all in this together. I've been in church work all of my life, and basically my whole income is completely dependent upon the free will offerings that people make in churches in the States or here. I don't have a contract with anybody. I don't get any set wages at all. When the economy tanks, then that's, if people don't give, they don't give. Just that simple. And so when they don't give, I get a letter from them and saying we really appreciate your work, and if a church folds for whatever reason, I get letters I get probably 3 or 4 a year of churches that say, sorry, we like what you're doing, but we can't continue to support you. So all I'm saying is we're in this together. God knows my heart when I've said this. When I went into the ministry, I said, Lord, I have never asked for money. My wife knows the same thing. I never asked for it. I said, God, if you want me in this ministry, you take care of it. And he always has. But I just need to let you know where we're at and where another staff member is, so that we are completely dependent upon the goodwill offerings of God's people. That's just how it works. This church's existence is completely dependent upon the goodwill offerings of God's people. How we pay for the wonderful air conditioning. It's how we buy sound equipment. It's how we work together to have places like this. That's how it works in God's economy. So I believe this, that if we were to ask God, how do we do this? He would tell us this. If everyone who comes to church would simply give their tithe, he would take care of all your needs. Because what we would do then is churches would live within their tithe, and it would be absolutely enough for all that God wants us to do. If he wants us to do more, then he expands that. It's very simple. It's a very simple plan that he has. So that's why the greatest need is you. Okay, we're all in this. Okay, so quickly, you have questions or comments you'd like to make as we close up here? Yeah. No. That's the selection committee. We have 3 candidates now who are, we need 4, okay? One is off. We have a vacancy, so we're trying to fill one vacancy. And those 6 names that you saw were actually, they're the selection team. So the nominations come from the congregation because I've been in churches where we have elections, and we don't have elections. It's not a contest. Yes. Yes. Well, again, I'll put it up on the city. The criteria is in our Constitution, and there's also, and so we also understand this as leadership. As leadership, we also have to continue to be examining where we're at to see how we can fulfill our responsibilities. And so if it comes to a point where we don't have the people who can do that, then we have to look again to see what our requirements are. Because we have a 2-year requirement, but I see a lot of people who they're not here for 2 years. who, so these are things that we have to continually do. Anybody else? Okay. So we can go have lunch now. How's that? I do have, for those of you who are here and you're not members, I have there's a membership application, the church covenant, and the church statement of faith. Church covenant, church statement of faith, and membership application. I'm going to put these right down here on the front chair. I'll have a word of prayer, and then we'll be dismissed, and you can come pick them up and to join us. Let's just have a word of prayer. Father, thank you for Grace Church. It's a blessing. I know that for me, I really love this church. I enjoy the opportunity to pastor, and I ask you, Lord Jesus, that as we go forward, God, you continue to give us wisdom, give us ideas, give us resources. Most of all, Lord, that you give us